Alright, hello and welcome to my Spirit Charmer deck profile, where we'll only be using the cards from the structure deck. So the first cards I'm gonna show are my monster cards, and I'm gonna start with the familiar possessed cards. Gonna run one of each attribute, water, wind, fire and earth. I will run 2 of each, and the reason for running 2 of each is because I needed a lot more monster cards, and these are spellcasters and 1850 attack, so that's the reason for choosing them. The other reason is that if they get put in your graveyard, you have no way of getting them back out, and your other trap cards and stuff like that that I'm gonna show later, you're gonna need to have different attributes, so you're gonna have to always be able to search for another attribute to use, so you can utilize the trap card's effect. So that is the reason for running 2 of each. The next card is Fairy Tale Luna. Gonna run 3 Fairy Tale Lunas. This is an amazing card. So what this card does is that it basically, I'm gonna have it up on the screen as well, but you can use it to bounce a lot of the cards back that the opponent has. And it's a quick effect, so you can use it on your opponent's turn as well, which is really strong. And it also can search for any of the 1850 attack monsters in your deck, so you can search any of the familiar possessed. And Fairy Tale Luna is also a 1850 attack, so it can actually search itself, which is really good. The next card I put down here is a Witchcrafter Golem Aruru. Another great card. It's a 2800 attack, so you can't search for it, but and I'm running three of this because I really want to have this in my hand at all times at least. And what it does is that if any of your spellcaster monsters gets attacked, you can summon this from your hand on your opponent's turn, and you can choose any card your opponent has, including back row and face down cards, set monsters, everything, and bounce them back. It also goes back to your hand on your opponent's next standby phase, which means that on your turn this will be on your field, so you can choose to use this for tributes, link summon, anything like that, if you want to, but we're not running an extra or a extra deck in this one, so we will only use this as a kind of a hand trap to protect our other spellcasters. So you can basically use this infinitely once you have it in your hand, or until your opponent stops it. The next card is Effect Veiler. Of course, I'm running 3 of the Effect Veilers. It's just a really good hand trap. Not so much to say about it. I just want to mention, it is a spellcaster and a tuner, but since we're not using any of the extra deck or something like that, and it's 0 attack, 0 defense, it's basically only used as a hand trap and nothing else. The next card, Spirit Charmers, obviously a really amazing card, running 3 of those as well. You can use this to search for any of the any of the possessed spell or traps. So we're mainly gonna use this to get our Awakening of the Possessed and actually I will show you in another clip what to use that. And then after that I'm running 2 to 3 Dark Ruler no more. Now I want to explain the why I'm main decking Dark Ruler no more. You can choose to put it in your side deck if you want, but the reason I'm using it is because sometimes it's very hard to deal with the monster effects your opponent has, especially quick turn effects that they will use every time you summon, and because most of your deck is normal summons that you will utilize, if they can use a card effect to bounce back a card or something like that, it will really be detrimental to your deck. So Dark Ruler no more just lets you do more flexible plays. But you have to keep in mind that if you're going first and you draw a Dark Ruler no more, it's basically gonna be a dead draw. And that is something to keep in mind, but yeah, I think that this card, it has you know, it has a lot of draws, searches and stuff like that, so I really don't think it will be that big of an issue, but that's the reason why I'm running it. Next card is Awakening of the Possessed that I just put down. This will be your draw card, so every time you summon a 1850 attack monster, you can draw a card. Obviously that's really good, just lets you draw a card, but it's only once per turn. But it really does matter. Just really good card, gives on the battle phase, it also gives your spellcaster some more attack, which is pretty good. So this cards are already pretty beefy at 1850 attack, and this will bump it up to even more. I believe it's like 2150. So like these are really good. And yeah, also, oh yeah, I forgot to say I'm running a free Awakening of the Possessed. And then my next card is Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Running 3 of this because I always want it out on the field. So what it does is that if you have a spellcaster out in your field, your opponent can't use any spell cards. And if you don't control any, then you can't use any spell cards. But yeah, so you basically always have a spellcaster out, so this will always be in effect, and you have lots of cards to protect your spellcasters. So yeah, that's the reason. Just lets you control the game easier, and another card for your opponent to deal with. Next card I'm using is Terraforming. The reason for this is because I always want a Sacred Village of the Spellcasters. Terraforming basically is like an extra Sacred Village of Spellcasters. I might use this for the Ishirin, which I will show later, because I'm only gonna run one Ishirin, so this basically, yeah, makes it so I can choose just really good card. Next card is obviously Rageki. Just destroy anything on your opponent's field. Pretty self-explanatory. So yeah. Now I believe I'm gonna show the Ishirin. So let's see. Yeah, putting down the Ishirin here. Basically what it does, it just negates the first effect your monster thing your opponent does. Quite situational. I prefer to have obviously the spellcaster, the village spellcaster is better, but sometimes this can be used, and I do run one of these, but I think that if you need a like if you're having a lot of problem with monster effects and stuff like that, then maybe running one more Dark Ruler no more would be better, but this is still an option. It also has an arbitrary effect of being able to search for 1500 attack cards. We're not gonna use any of them in this deck I'm doing, so that's basically a useless effect. But yeah, it's still like a pretty okay card. I do suggest you run one of this. You might get some good plays with it. Next, I'm gonna show what I'm side decking. Oh no. First I'm gonna show my trap cards. Sorry. So here, 3 possessed partnerships I'm running. Basically, you need 2 attributes. So 2 attributes on the field. When you use this, you can destroy any card your opponent has. Yes, pretty good. So yeah, it also has a graveyard effect. So when it's in the graveyard, you can target another, I think, spell or trap, and you can bring it back to the field. So you can bring back a continuous spell or trap cards, which is fantastic. The next card is Solemn Warning. I'm running 3 of the Solemn Warnings. Just really good. Maybe Judgment would be better, but this is what was in the structure deck. So yeah, I just really great card in my opinion to control the game easier. The last trap card, or the last card in our main deck, is the Unpossessed. Just lets it so your spellcasters can't be destroyed by battle. And it also lets you, I think it lets you get a drawn special summon as well. It's pretty good. Good card. I'm only running 2 of those. I'm running 2 Unpossessed. And I'm gonna show the side deck. So yeah, obviously side decking the Denko Sekka just lets you lock out the opponent easier. Pretty situational card. Not it's a normal summon. You have to normal summon it. So, and in my opinion, like, you already have, like, all your cards are normal summons already, so to waste it on a Denkusek is very situational, so it really depends on the situation. But yeah, that's why it's in the side deck. And the next one is Dimensional Barrier. Obviously, this card could actually be main decked as well, but I choose to put it in the side deck. But yeah, like, it depends a lot on what you are against. But you really don't want to have dead draws. We already have enough like dead draws in our deck already, in my opinion. But yeah, last card is Twin Twisters. That's obviously just to help with back row removal, which might be a problem for you. Yeah, these are basically the only cards you have to worry about. So this is a very beginner friendly deck, and it doesn't have long big combos, doesn't use a special deck at all. Just a very good deck for beginners trying to learn the game. And yeah, it has helped me out a lot. So yeah, the first card is Fairy Tail Luna. Great. It can search for any of the other spellcasters, including itself, but to add to the hand. But depending on the situation, you wanna have different attributes and stuff like that. But yeah, it can summon itself, which is great. So here's one example how we can use the other Fairy Tail Luna effect. It's a quick effect. where you can choose one of the cards the enemies has, and they can choose to put one of the similar names in the graveyard to negate the effect. Otherwise, it's returned to their hand. So yeah, this is a really amazing card. So yeah, here's another great card, Aruru. One of my favorite cards in this deck. It's kind of like a hand trap. So if you have one spellcast route, for example, a normal familiar possessed, also works with the fairy tale cards. But yeah, let's say you have it in the hand, and as demonstration, the enemies have one monster and they attack. You can activate Aruru from your hand on their turn, place it on the field, choose whatever card they have to return to the hand. So for example, you can return the attacking one, for example. And this card will actually stay on the board even after it ends the turn. But it will return to your hand after their turn again. So you can actually end up attacking with Aruru again on your turn, and then when you end your turn on their standby phase, you will get it back. So you can use it infinitely. Next one is Spirit Charmers. So you basically just discard a card, and you can choose two of the possessed. You can choose any possessed spell or trap cards to get to your hand. So yeah, obviously you're gonna want Possessed Partnership and Awakening of the Possessed. Both amazing cards. So Awakening of the Possessed is one of our another amazing card we have, which we can use to draw cards. So if you have it running, it's a continuous spell card. We just have it out on the field once per turn. If you summon any of the 1850 attacks, as you can see, which includes Luna, and you can draw a card. So it's 3 card draws, which is great, amazing. Also gives your other spellcasters some extra attack, makes them better. Next is Unpossessed, which basically is a continuous spell cards that makes your familiars unkillable. Another great card. Now, if you choose to discard, if you want to discard one, it should be the Possessed Partnerships, because it's the only one that has a graveyard effect, as far as I know. So you can have it in the graveyard, and if you have any other card in the graveyard, so for example the Unpossessed, you can bring it back on the board by using the Possessed Partnerships effect in the graveyard. That's basically some of the basic combos and stuff like that. Like as I said, very easy to play deck. And I think this one is even easier because I'm not using any of the other monster, which I saw that Team Samurai X, he used the 1500 attack monsters and the Nefarious and stuff like that. But in this deck we're not using any of that. It's more of a, I would say it's like a controls style. Your win condition is just to bring his cards back to the hand, and just lock him out, like never let him attack, return them to his hand every time he attacks, and then try to win the game that way. Kind of reminds me of Sky Strikers, which, you know, like most Yu-Gi-Oh decks, they are like one turn kill. This one, you're gonna grind it out, but I think it's a little bit more fun because your turns are not that long. It's a little bit more back and forth, which in my opinion I miss with a lot of decks. But yeah, that is the deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed this like short quick video on the Spirit Charmers. Really underrated deck. I saw a lot of I read a little bit on the forums and stuff like that. People said that they are really like the structure deck is really bad and stuff like that. But in reality, I really believe that this is really great and it can become really good. I saw some deck variations of the Spirit Charmer, which was the Magistus, Deus Magistus, and one was and another deck was with Ida. Yeah, might make a video about the Magistus cards if I ever try that one out with the Spirit Charmers. It does seem like a great upgrade from this deck, but as I said, this is just a structure deck that I wanted to show off for new players to try out. The structure deck has really great staples, really great value. So yeah, absolutely something I recommend, fully recommend. If you don't want to buy a bunch of singles, you're not sure what you want to do, you just want to go to your locals or whatever, buy 3 structure packs, see what the game is about. I fully endorse the Spirit Charmers. Very fun, very simple, and very effective, despite popular beliefs and what people on the forums will tell you. So yeah, that's all for this video, and goodbye.